In this podcast episode, host Bialik and Jonathan Cohen engage in an insightful conversation with holistic psychologist Dr. Nicole LePera, author of How to Do the Work, How to Be the Love You Seek. They explore how unresolved childhood wounds shape adult behaviors, relationships, and even our ability to access intuition. The discussion delves into concepts like reparative healing, the inner child, emotional immaturity in parents, sibling abuse, addiction, and the pervasive role of shame. Throughout, Dr. LePera emphasizes the neurobiological underpinnings of trauma and how awareness and intentional action can rewire our nervous systems to create healthier lives. Dr. LePera explains how many adults carry unresolved childhood wounds formed in environments lacking stability, support, or emotional attunement. These early experiences create an inner child within us that continues to influence emotional reactions and interpersonal dynamics, often in ways that feel instinctual but are actually rooted in past trauma. People may find themselves spiraling into panic or distrust in seemingly unrelated situations because their nervous system is triggered by echoes of past pain. Despite the discomfort of revisiting childhood, healing requires acknowledging these wounds, not to blame parents who often did the best they could under their own limitations, but to understand and ultimately move forward from them. The conversation highlights how many parents, themselves emotionally immature due to their own upbringing and life stressors, struggle to regulate their emotions or respond to their children's emotional needs effectively. This often results in a shift where children become caretakers of their parents' emotional states, a process called parentification. Such blurred boundaries burden children with disproportionate responsibilities, manifesting later as compulsive caretaking, resentment, and challenges setting boundaries in adult relationships. Healing includes learning to separate one's own feelings from the responsibility for others' emotions and restoring a healthier balance. Dr. LePera underscores that parenting is an immense challenge, especially in modern cultures where many parents lack traditional support systems. She emphasizes responding to parental shortcomings with compassion toward both parent and child, recognizing that most parents operate from limited tools and capacities. Parents who acknowledge their imperfections and communicate honestly about past struggles with their children create opportunities for profound repair and healing. Such openness validates the child's experience, counters internalized shame, and supports the formation of healthier emotional regulation. The patterns developed in childhood are not limited to familial or romantic relationships, but extend to friendships, work dynamics, and even one's relationship with oneself. Early established habits and beliefs about worthiness, safety, and how others relate become internalized frameworks that affect how individuals respond to stress and connection in every domain. These ingrained patterns often manifest in chronic stress, misperceived threats, perfectionism, people-pleasing, or withdrawal, which keep people stuck and prevent authentic engagement with life and others. Dr. LePera dives into how unacknowledged emotional trauma physically manifests in the body. Holding suppressed emotions activates chronic stress responses that constrict fascia, disrupt nervous system regulation, and impair immune function. She shares poignant examples, such as her mother's chronic pain and cases of autoimmune illness, illustrating how emotional stress stored biologically can produce real physical suffering. Attempts to manage or numb these feelings through addictive behaviors or unhealthy coping mechanisms like sugar consumption only perpetuate the cycle without true resolution. Expanding on coping strategies, the discussion explores addiction's roots in trauma and shame rather than genetic determinism alone. Behaviors, whether substance use, overeating, or compulsive activities, function as attempts to soothe emotional pain and fulfill unregulated needs. For example, sugar can physiologically release oxytocin-like comfort signals, making it a common yet unhealthy source of relief. Understanding addiction as a symptom of unmet emotional needs rather than a moral failing opens the door for more compassionate and effective healing approaches. Dr. LePera defines shame as a pervasive feeling of being inherently flawed or unworthy, distinct from guilt, which relates to specific behaviors. Shame often originates in childhood through experiences of rejection or conditional acceptance, leading individuals to disembody and disconnect from self-worth. This neurological shutdown erodes intuition and exacerbates emotional regulation challenges. Manifestations of shame include people-pleasing, avoidance, projection, secrecy, and even self-harming behaviors. Healing shame involves recognizing its origins, understanding its protective role, and learning how to reconnect to one's inherent value. The conversation investigates how shame and trauma obstruct intuitive guidance. Shame causes a nervous system shutdown that disconnects individuals from bodily signals and inner knowing. Conversely, trauma can hyperactivate vigilance, causing people to misinterpret neutral information as threatening, reinforcing distrust and reactive behaviors. This distorted inner child on the outside governs interpersonal dynamics unconsciously, pulling individuals back in time, emotionally and limiting present moment awareness. Reconnecting with intuition requires nervous system regulation, increased safety, and relearning flexibility in perception and response. Dr. LePera presents reparenting, as a methodical process of rewiring the brain and nervous system through consistent awareness and compassionate action. Rather than a soft or purely psychological technique, repairing involves identifying safety cues, calming bodily responses, and creating new relational patterns that counteract trauma's imprint. It is an ongoing journey of accompanying the inner child with nurturing support to replace old survival habits. Progress happens gradually. Breakthroughs are found in practicing new choices amid life's inevitable difficulties rather than waiting for perfect emotional states. The episode touches on sibling abuse as an often overlooked source of childhood trauma. Differentiating from ordinary sibling rivalry, abuse involves ongoing, intense, and harmful physical or emotional behavior that disregards boundary setting or expressed discomfort. Such experiences can create deep-seated anger, confusion, and affect future relationships. Like other family dynamics, sibling abuse often reflects broader environmental stressors or parental limitations. Addressing these wounds is crucial for healing, yet survivors frequently carry silence and shame around their experiences. The discussion critiques the use of physical punishment in parenting, emphasizing that violence undermines respect by activating a child's threat response rather than fostering genuine understanding or resilience. Healthy boundaries and limits, communicated with clarity and consistency, build trust and safety, helping children learn cause and effect without fear or confusion. Caregiving that balances firmness with emotional attunement supports secure development and reduces intergenerational patterns of trauma. Dr. LePera explains the concept of the shadow as the collection of disowned traits, feelings, or desires that were rejected or shamed during one's upbringing. These shadow elements remain active beneath conscious awareness and are frequently projected onto others, causing conflicts and misinterpretations in relationships. Recognizing that what we find irritating or intolerable in others often mirrors parts of ourselves is a powerful step in healing and self-integration. This awareness invites greater compassion rather than judgment, deepening emotional maturity. Finally, Dr. LePera offers a hopeful vision for those undertaking this work. Healing opens the door to fuller connection, authenticity, emotional regulation, and access to one's purpose and creativity. It is a lifelong process marked by increased self-awareness, resilience, and the capacity to engage with complexity and joy. There is no deadline or age limit for transformation, and incremental progress leads to profound shifts in how individuals experience themselves and their relationships. The journey is one toward a more embodied, intuitive, and fulfilling life.